Welcome to the Nomad Network, your first stop for complete and comprehensive Chicago Bears football coverage. Dive deep into analyses, updates, and all things Bears. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today and never miss a beat. Thank you in advance for your support. We promise to bring you the best because together we're unstoppable. Go Bears!
Yo, no maniacs. Welcome into another edition of Feed the Bears, where I do my job to feed you, the Bears, the best content we can possibly give you. And I'm going to apologize to you ahead of time because I'm going to have to make some, maybe have to make some changes to how I present this all 22, only because as much as I want to thoroughly go through the all 22 with you all and go play by play like I really would want to, it's how a good evaluator would do or analyst would do to just show you exactly what it is. Maybe you don't need the entire every play, but there's definitely way more to show you that I cannot show you because of YouTube guidelines and just not getting dinged too many times. Because if you don't have a YouTube channel and you don't do content that you monetize, you would know that you only can get so many of those in a month. And I think I met my quota as far as that last all 22 went. And other stuff that we've done. But yeah, I apologize to you ahead of time because I have probably a total of 3 plays that I think we could be able to get away with. We can go over them once or twice maybe. And then I'm talking about play it once and then one more time on rewind. We might be able to get away with that. But that's about it, man. I got like a few plays. And be honest with you guys, it was way too much stuff, to get into one show anyway. It was that bad. For the most part. And there was good stuff, but there was way more bad stuff that needed to be pointed out. And best thing I can do at this point, shout out to everybody, Crimson #1 in here. The best thing I can do is just point out a few things that were kind of endemic for the entirety of the game. And I got a few plays that were kind of that, because it was just a lot of stuff going on. Shout out to everybody. Timothy Bazemore. Who else in here? Evie. I got it right this time, Evie. I almost messed it up. Evie like a Chevy. Shout out to Evie for being here. Hope you all are doing good, man. Here's Don Burr in here I don't even want to see you right now, Don, man, but you got every right to clown us right now. Y'all deserve it this time around, man, because it was rough. So let me just, before we get into the all 22, let me just say, funny thing happened last night when my girlfriend got home. Because I did exactly like I said we was going to do. When she got home, we was going to bust out the charcuterie board with a few snacks and, get into the Jameson a little bit just to do something to feel better about myself. And the first thing she did, now I didn't realize, or I forgot that I have this big, huge Bears flag that I put out every game, or she puts out, either one, before every game, and that thing flies all day long. I forgot it was out there. So she gets home later on that evening, and she just walked in there with that big old flag, and she was just like, this is not going up for the rest of the year. No, or not until they turn into a good team again. So you can just forget about this flag. She bought it for me. And she said, you can forget about this. This is going downstairs. Ain't nobody putting this out there until they start winning football games. And I was just like, okay, she's not a bossy woman, man. She's not a bossy woman at all. But when she's that forceful about something, then I got to pay attention to him. And I start thinking about it. I'm like, man, she's right. What am I doing representing the Bears in front of my house like that with that big giant flag and they look like crap? And so I agreed with her. I'm not going to put it out until they start being a better football team, until they start winning. So I see some evidence of a team that's got some fight to it. And I didn't see that last night or yesterday afternoon. But let me get into the chat. We'll get into more of that conversation in just a second, man. Yeah, Evie. She says, we're a work in progress. Hopefully we can zoom out and see the bigger picture as far as the team rebuild goes. I got some, I'll just say this. Hey, Tim, real talk, man, they don't deserve me putting that flag out there. It's a big, beautiful flag, man. Paid a good amount of money for it. She did. And it's nice, man. And they don't deserve it right now. I'm not gonna put it out until she gets it right. I hear you, Evie. Says Mama was hurt. I get it. But win or lose, tie, Bears fans forever. That's the thing about us. And I was saying this last night, Abby. Before we got out of the show, I said to everybody, one thing I know about us, and if you're a Bears fan, I know if you're a Bears fan, I know this about you. You're obviously tough, mentally and emotionally. You're obviously a tough person because nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, can put up with the kind of being the heel of the league kind of for this long, and then keep some kind of sanity about them and just keep going on. I mean, that's how committed we get to this organization, man. We make it part of our lives. I know I do. Being a podcaster now, as much time as I spend, doing content and preparing for shows and all the stuff that we have to do over here, it is difficult at times, man. Very difficult. But I don't want no pity party because I'm just no more a fan than you all are. And so I suffer in that way, just like everybody else does. And it's no fun when you watch a game like that. When you put a 50 burger on your team and for a fact, especially after me watching this film, it was a lot of systemic stuff going on. You can think I can go from the coaches not preparing these guys well enough, and I know they had a short week. You can talk about that. You can talk about player effort. It's stuff that happened all across the board. But I tell you that the key to it all was toughness. There was a tougher team out there Sunday. There was a tougher team. And I hate to say it wasn't ours. That was at the end of the game. At the end of the day, usually the tougher team usually wins a football game. If that team doesn't turn it over more than the other team, that tough team is going to beat you. That's just how football works. And we were definitely not the toughest team yesterday. But let me get to a couple comments in here. See what people are saying. All right. But let me point out to some highlights. I'm not talking about film highlights, some things that I saw during the whole film that really, really was huge to us. Now, when you have a team that you have a defense that gives up, there were I counted 7 plays for 25 yards or more. So 7 chunk plays during the game, 25 yards or more. Think about that. 7 times during the game, they gave up at least 25 yards or more. You can't win like that. Number one, you cannot win like that. The second thing that was the most strong to me was defensively, and that was not getting blockers off of you, not shedding blocks. You talk about how poor that team was against the run yesterday. That is probably the through line in it all, is the fact that these guys they weren't violent enough as far as getting people off of you. You can either, once a guy, like, unless he's a big, huge guy, let's just say Luther Burden or somebody, and my assignment is to attack the edge rusher. That's different. Or the edge rusher gets his hands on you. That's different. You can't shed that block. Nobody's going to blame Luther Burden. If you can't shed that block, you can't. That's just physical anatomy stuff going on there. But our defense could not get off blocks consistently. I would just say, like, I started looking at Montez Sweat. People were complaining a lot about Montez Sweat, and I started looking at him on tape. And I would just say Montez Sweat didn't have a bad game, and he didn't have a good game. What I saw with Montez Sweat was, especially for the amount he's getting paid, and I hear a lot of people saying we need more for the amount that he's getting paid, and for that matter, I agree with him. But what I saw on film was Montez Sweat was too one-dimensional as far as the pass rush went. How do I describe what I'm saying? So Montez Sweat is mainly just a power edge rusher. So when he attacks an offensive tackle and he's trying to get to the quarterback, he's usually a one-trick pony. He's just going boom. He's going to get right into that guy with the long arm stab, and he's going to drive that guy right back into the quarterback. And he's going to affect the quarterback one way or the other, whether he makes a move left, right, up in the pocket. He typically gets his hands on that guy, and if he presses out and starts driving those legs, he's going to push that guy right into the quarterback. The quarterback's going to have to move, or he's going to end up getting sacked. What we're not seeing enough of a little bit, we need a little bit more variety in this pass rush. That's what I would say. And so instead of going with that power move every single time, maybe try to go around them sometimes, try to go underneath them sometimes, just mix it up a little bit. And I think he'll have a little bit more success. Simple things that Montez Sweat could clean up. Dio Odingbo, same thing, because they're same kind of player, same kind of thing. Dio, I think, has got a little bit more variety to his pass rush. But, the one thing Dio didn't do quite as well as Montez did was capture that edge in the run game. I'll just say, and I'll be honest with you guys, I probably got another half a quarter to watch of that game. I didn't watch all of it yet. But for the most part, when I saw Dio out there, when the runs came his way, he just wasn't forceful at capturing the edge. And sometimes he just missed his assignment completely. Got washed inside a little bit and the runs got out wide on him. Things like that. So the edge rushers, I think what I'm trying to say to you all is what I saw from that particular area, I believe is very correctable, very coachable. That can get better in a flash. So I'm confident they'll get that right. The other stuff, obviously on the inside of the interior defensive line, even when Grady Jarrett was getting double teamed, let's just say 40% of the time, if I had to give you a percentage, and he did okay with holding up to the double teams, but I could tell something isn't right with him. I can just tell because he just wasn't the impact player on the game that we know he can be. He wasn't up to Grady Jarrett's standard. I think if you put truth serum in Grady Jarrett right now, he'll probably tell you the exact same thing. I didn't play up to my standard. He'll probably tell you that, but I don't know if it's got something to do with something going on with his knee, whatever it was. Grady Jarrett is better than what I saw on film. 110%. Gervon Dexter, average and a little bit subpar, in my opinion. Also, one of the guys that has to get off blocks a little bit better. He was better from week 1 to week 2 as far as that goes, but he's still got a ways to go with that. He's got to play with more violence. A lot more violence than he played with yesterday. He was pretty violent, but we need more than that. We need more than that. Let me get back into the chat. Let me see what people are saying. Crimson, shout out to Crimson. He says, Ben showing the team CFL tape in the film room. You know what? This didn't even look like NFL caliber play, Crimson. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was rough. It was very rough. Yes, we are still a work in progress. Evie, 110%. Yep. King, he says Sweat has one move, bull rush. I don't think he neutralized. He's going to have to come with a little bit more of that. I'm pretty sure he's feeling that when he's looking at the tape. He can't just keep throwing that straight fastball all the time. You got to throw some curveballs in there, some change ups. Gonna do a lot, man. But he'll be better. I know that. Rocket Dream says Dexter can't get off blocks. I know he's gonna have to be a little more violent than he was Sunday. I know that. He's gonna have to be. That's part of it. It was the part that really irked me, and I'm a defender, I'm a defensive guy. I come from a cornerback's background. When I see a team just allowing themselves to be blocked, as bad as it looked in the running game, it didn't take me long to turn that tape on and to realize, like, man, if these guys could just get off of these blocks and be more violent about not allowing somebody to keep hands on you. You got to have an attitude about that. You have to have the personality type to be like, hey, man, you can keep your damn hands off me. I'm not going to allow you to keep your hands on me. You have to have that kind of spirit, or people will maul you. They will absolutely maul you, play in and play out. If you're not going to violently keep people off of you, people will maul you. And they've got to adopt that attitude, man. And some of the stuff we're talking about today is just attitude stuff. All attitude. And sometimes, to your point, Crimson, I remember you saying something to me yesterday before we got out of the show, and you were like, hey, man, look for those loafs. And to your point, one thing I would probably redescribe it as effort. Effort stuff, man. You know what I mean? Just when the ball is not coming your direction, like to say, for instance, you're the linebacker on the wides on the weak side, and the ball is being run or thrown to the strong side. Effort plays, getting all the way over to the field and giving everything you got to get to the ball. You see that on film. All the stuff about Ben Johnson and him being this guy that's going to bring in this standard about we're going to be a physical, tough football team, and we're going to play with effort, and that's going to shine. I didn't see that yesterday. I saw everything but that. And overall, I'm going to be honest with you. Even with all of that I saw, as bad as some of this film looks, I'm still confident that in time, and remember I told you all, I said I do not expect this to be a complete team in the first couple of weeks. And I did everything I could to kind of prepare everybody for what I thought was going to happen early in the season. And it's going down pretty much exactly the way I thought it would. I didn't expect no 50 burgers in week 2, no. But I didn't expect this to be a complete put together team with all these new pieces, these new coaches, and the coaching schemes. That always is going to take some time. So I'm not totally out on the Bears, man. I'm not totally out. I know these things take time. These things take time, man. And so I would just say, you all, I know it's hard to be confident in based on what you saw, but I'm telling you that there's enough stuff that I seen that was good and enough correctables on film to say that, okay, all they got to do is get in the film room and get this together. Now, you cannot coach and you cannot teach toughness. You cannot coach and you cannot teach fight. You cannot teach or coach dog. Are we missing some of that? Yes. Yes. I don't know where you're going to get it from, but I didn't see enough dog out there. So let me go through my list of, I need to get to this real quick before I get started with the all 22. I should have did this right from the top, but let me get to it. So the big news everybody's talking about right now is we possibly could be missing Jaylon Johnson for the season. And from what I understood, this is broken by Jordan Schultz, NFL Insider on Twitter. That's the place where I always see his information. But shout out to Jordan Schultz I think he was the first one to break this story. Now everybody's covering it, ESPN and everybody. And so I didn't get to watch all of Ben Johnson's interview today before doing the show. And it does sound like they're still either just not going to tell us everything we need to know right away, and they're covering it up, or they know he's going to be out for the year. I mean, either way, it doesn't sound good. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I do think that we have a couple of guys in the building. And if you just take, with respect to Nashawn Wright, man, who didn't have a horrible game yesterday, with respect to him, they may have some other options. Remember, they did sign Jaylon Jones again. I like that signing. He's proven to me that he can play. He's proven to me that he could be, in a lineup somewhere. Is that the person you want to have out there for the season? Probably not, but I feel confident in his play. I feel confident in Josh Blackwell maybe taking a role or something along those lines, and maybe taking that role if Nashawn Wright doesn't get it together. And I'm also confident in what Kyler Gordon can do, because those other two guys can play the nickel very well, along with Nick McCloud. So in replacement of Jaylon, if he's done for the year, I feel somewhat optimistic about the players that we have inside the building. I feel pretty good. Me being a cornerback, I might be being a little cocky right now about some of those guys' ability. I might be guilty of that, but I do have confidence in a lot of those guys, the three guys in particular I just named. And so I don't know what this is going to be. My instincts tell me he's done for the year, but I'm just going to try to keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully it ain't as bad as we think it is, because if it's what he said on the Pivot podcast when he said that he tore his groin off the bone and he hasn't had surgery, I don't know if that was cap. Did you really tear your groin off the bone? Because even though I've never had a torn groin, I don't know that you tear a groin off the bone and you're repaired by the time the season starts at that point where he said it happened. I think that's a surgery injury, 110%. But, we're going to see. Let me get to a couple of comments. I Could Dream says this is a wrap for him. Yeah, man. Cloud Chasers Radio says the Bears have a whole lot of puppies on this roster. Nowhere near enough, dog. I agree with that, man. We got to get it better. Some of these cats going to have to grow up quick. Rocket Dream says even if he comes back, he thinks he's going to be hobbled. Probably, man. I don't. If it's as bad as it sounds, then I wouldn't want him to come back this year. To be honest with you, get all the way healthy, and we'll see you next year. If it's you don't want a guy out there with growing issues, tears in the growing issues out there being iffy, man. You can make it way worse than it is, and you already paid him a boatload of money. Yeah, he can chill for the year. It's over with. Ralph Love, shout out to Ralph Love, one of our newest members. He says this rebuild, bro, both lines and the secondary. I don't know about the secondary, but maybe the secondary, but the lines, man, that's the thing, man. They won in the trenches, and that's my biggest problem with it. On both sides of the ball, they won in the trenches. All right, let's get to the next thing. That is TJ. And from reports so far, say he re-injured his hamstring. And so whatever hamstring issues that he had before seems to be re-aggravated from this game. And I think I know exactly when he re-aggravated. There was that big play from JMO that went across the middle of the field. It was TJ that went out there and was tracking him down. He was full bore. And I believe if he hurt himself, he hurt it running, trying to get him, chasing him down. So I hope the best for TJ as well. I just don't know, man. He's such an impact player on this defense. And I am confident in Noah Sewell, but, man, TJ Edwards, I'm going to say this to you, too. As a TJ Edwards play on defense that I did highlight as one of those systemic problems that I saw throughout the entire game. I hate to even have to highlight TJ, but I had to highlight TJ because TJ, being honest with you, I watched this tape when we got him. Matter of fact, before we got him, when he was in free agency, I was looking at that list of guys, and I watched this Philadelphia tape. And you don't see TJ Edwards ever have bad games. You don't see him be missing assignments ever. I'm not saying sometimes. You never see TJ out of assignment ever. And this is probably the worst game I've ever seen TJ play on film. And I've seen a few of them. TJ Edwards out of assignment sounds like a oxymoron. That's how good of an assignment sound linebacker that he is. He's never out of position. He's never missing assignments, ever. Does he always make every play? No. Nobody does. But off assignment, never. Not with TJ. But I'll show you a play exactly. It was just systemic throughout the entire game, not just TJ, but other players. Kevin Byard missing his the guy that came out in the flats on him. He missed that. He got washed inside, too much looking, and the guy got wide open. I think it was number 89 on a flat touchdown in the red zone. That shouldn't have happened. But yeah, TJ, this is the worst game by far I've ever seen him play. Cloud Chasers Radio says Ryan Poles really built this team outside in. Yeah, I hear that, man. That's yeah. I say every bit of criticism that Ryan Poles is getting right now, he's owning it. He deserves it. I would just say that. But man, shout out to TJ Edwards. I hope he's back sooner than later. We're gonna see. I think we're gonna get more information on him either tonight, tomorrow. I hate to have to wait until Wednesday to get the injury report, but we might have to with this one, man. So we'll see. Tim Bazemore says, "Hey, Nomad, I respect opinion, but the identity of this team is the offense. This is what you brought Ben Johnson here for. Look at the first 3 picks of the draft. I don't want to hear any more excuses anymore." I hear you, bro. I'm not here to give you no excuses either. I don't think anybody on this, as far as from the front office all the way out to the personnel on the field, deserves any excuses. And I'm not trying to give it to them. Yes, I'm mostly trying to be optimistic about everything. That's just the way I'm built. But there's not a lot to be optimistic about, even though I do find things. But, they deserve all the butt kicking they're going to get right about now. And, it's a lot of even the Ben Johnson people, all the people that were clamoring on and on and on about Ben Johnson. He was Ben Johnson. I'm like, dude, he'll be a rookie head coach, number one. Number two, he's in a situation where he's trying to rebuild this roster in his image. He's going to screw some things up. fundamentally as a coach, just because he's a rookie at doing it. He's an offensive coordinator. This is his first time being a coach. But for all the people who were clamoring on about Ben Johnson, I was looking at podcast earlier today when I first got up, before I started watching the All 22, and they are absolutely turning on him. They are absolutely turning on Ben Johnson. That honeymoon is over. All the good, kind words everybody had for Ben Johnson, that shit is over with, bro. They're clowning him right now. And it's not good. It's not good. That honeymoon is over. And, it's going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to find out if he's a good coach or if he's not. And we're going to find out soon. King Booker World says, see how shitty the Vikings played last night, and lets me know the Bears have a ways to go, but we'll get there. I said it during the game. I said it after the game. We beat the literal crap out of the Minnesota Vikings. We just let down at the end, and J.J. McCarthy might have threw 3 decent passes the entire game, and he threw them all when they counted. I knew then that we were a better team than them then. We should have won that game. Number 2 is people went to comparing J.J. McCarthy to Caleb Williams, talking about he's a better quarterback than Caleb Williams already. I'm like, boy, you catch a trip. You catch a trip. And J.J., there's nothing at all special about J.J. McCarthy. There's a reason why they didn't throw the ball with him when he was at Michigan. It all showed up last night. I watched every single snap. He's not good, and I don't see that guy being good for a long time at all. I don't know if he makes it through the season as a starter. Struggle bus is real. So I just, anyway, let me get a couple other things I want to talk about before we get into the All 22, and I'm going to hurry up and get into it. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. David Montgomery, he clowned us. He was clowning us last night. I watched that highlight probably 8 to 10 times by now. This is not All 22 stuff I'm talking about. Talking about when David Montgomery got in the end zone, he was clowning us. And this might look like David Montgomery. This is just a still shot of it. This is it looks like he's got praying hands going on, but no, he was calling us, in my opinion, the way I interpreted it. You guys can go look at the highlights if you want to. Maybe you come up with a better excuse or a summary as to what you saw. But the way I looked at that is, you MFers are crybabies. Now take this. Because he was basically mocking crybaby. If you see, you can't tell in this still shot, but if you go and watch the video, that's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. And I'm looking at that like he's calling us crybabies. Now, I'm not saying this to have people go after David Montgomery at all, but I'm just telling you what I thought it was. That's the way I interpreted what he was doing. Also, let me see, where's the other one? Remember this? Amon-Ra St. Brown clowning on the ground like he had some kind of hamstring injury when he got up. That was clowning too. That was showing us up. All of that I interpreted as them clowning us. Every last bit of it. Yeah, they clowning the fan base, man. They basically call us a bunch of babies and crybabies, and they say we soft and weak. They say all this stuff online, which none of it which I respond to. But my competitive spirit, my competitive nature, out of all the bad stuff that I saw yesterday, I'm talking about live while I was watching it. This stuff right here probably riled my spirit more than anything. Not just because David Montgomery is a former Bear, but because I know exactly what he meant when he did it. They watch Twitter, they watch social media, and they know how much fragility is within our fan base. And they know it's a lot of complaining and a lot of whining going on, to be quite frank with you. And I'm not pointing no fingers at nobody. I'm just talking about overall as to why they were taking this approach to their touchdown celebrations. They're calling us soft. And that's the part that bothers me the most. Let me see. G-Man says, shout out to G-Man, one of our members. He says, we have to turn it around sometime. So we start to get the ref calls that can help us win games. like other teams get. He says the good team seems to usually get the referee calls. I know one thing, G man. I hear what you're saying, but I was always coached and taught. You don't ever expect the referees to be with you. Ever. If you depending on referees to help you win a game, man, you lost out there. That was just what I was always taught. Not to this day, I believe that. It does seem like at times that sometimes the referees are like, it does feel like you're getting picked on at times. Like you don't get certain calls. Like I've seen many plays on this all 22 where the Bears were just snatched up and held so many times along the line of scrimmage. And that happens on both sides. That happens to every team, but it seemed more egregious to me looking at the all 22. I'm like, how are they not calling some of this stuff? How? Montez probably about 3 different times. A couple of times with Jervon. I know what you're saying, G man, but you can't play the game expecting the referees to make calls that go your way. You got to play. I always play like they're your enemy. So you got to go do extra so the referees don't have an impact on the game. Let me see. Booker says the Bears fan base is one of the most fairy weather Johnny-come-lately MFs on the planet. All the ones talking shit will be the first ones talking about how they knew it the whole time. I'm trying not to clown the fan base, man, because they are supporters and I love them all, but sometimes we do got some iffy ass fans out there, and I know that's who they mocking. The ones that do the most talking out there and don't really have no substance behind it. Just doing all that talking. I ain't one of them. Yeah, he said that King Booker said that ham celebration was on AS. And he said the receipts need to be, yeah, I'm keeping the receipts for sure. Yeah, the Lions, Crimson says the Lions fans is salty that Ben Johnson pieced out. That you got that going on too, big time. Let me see. King Booker. All right, man. Hey, those are your words. You said, man, F them fans. No, man, I don't rock with them too much, man. That's why I stay off social media for the most part, talking. I post content there and post videos and all that kind of stuff. But talking, waste of time for me. Big waste of time. But let's go on and get into this video, man. I only got a few plays to talk about anyway. Just trying to keep the show monetized so we can make something. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think we might have to go to either Patreon or Ko-Fi, and I'm just trying to avoid doing that to the members of the channel. The people that pay money shouldn't have to go on those channels and pay for all 22 breakdowns, man. The people that want to watch it that haven't become members, that's out on them, you know what I mean? But I'll try to figure out a way to do that. But I'm sorry ahead of time, man, for having so few plays, man. But this is just my way of trying to keep the thing monetized. Let me pull it up. All right, here we go. This is the very first offensive play for the Lions, man. This is who to pay attention to is watch my cursor. Watch my cursor. Tyreek Stevenson right here. And I hate to be picking on him, but in this play, let me describe to you what I saw. There's a couple things going on. Tyreek Stevenson not being physical at the line of scrimmage on St. Brown here. That cost him on an over route across the field right over here in this vicinity right here, somewhere up in here. But these two guys, the safeties, what you're going to see is man coverage across the board, and the two safeties were kind of free. They were kind of free, but they split. It looked like it was supposed to be a split half coverage, and so it was supposed to be Kevin Byard over here covering anything or getting over the top of anything on this side, and the same thing, anything deep and on this side, Kevin Byard's supposed to grab it. Over here, you're supposed to have Jaquan Brisker doing the same exact thing over here. What you're going to see seems like a miscommunication. Like I said at the very beginning, I think that was a big problem, huge problem in this game was communication lapses all over the field. All over the field, especially on the defense. Communication lapses happen. I mean, they broke down continuously, and it just got worse throughout the game. All right, so let's play this out. All right, remember, you guys, I am a cornerback. Now, what I know is true, and this is something I've always played with this technique in man coverage. I don't care who you think you are. They give you a 5-yard from here to here to be physical. You can lock him up. You can get into damn near a fist fight with him. And this is what it should have been. Damn near a fist fight right here at the line of scrimmage. Him putting his hands on Amon-Ra St. Brown. But what you saw, as soon as the ball is snapped, Tyreek played patty cake with him and lightly kind of reached his hand out to touch him. And he played puppy dog, chasing him all the way across the field and didn't close on the separation. And that's going to be an easy pitch and catch. Right here, you, Tyreek Stevenson, have to be entirely more physical than you were. And this is systemic throughout the whole game. And people were talking about how bad Tyreek looked. It's the technical stuff, the little stuff like this that's going to cost you. Now watch. You see, that's as physical as he got. Number one, that's the wrong technique to take. When you're in man coverage, the sideline is probably your best friend over here. What you do is you take his inside leverage away. So you jam him with your right hand right off the line of scrimmage. And if you do nothing else, you're going to disrupt the timing of this play action throw over into this area. If you do nothing else, you're going to slow this route progression over here. So you got to disrupt him physically. And if it turns into a fist fight, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And I don't mean a literal fist fight on the field, but if they get into a shoving match, that's what it's supposed to be. You letting him know right at the very beginning, you got me all night. I'm in your face all night, and this is what it's going to be. And you're going to get him kind of get him off kilter because he's going to be busy worrying about going back and forth with you, and he's going to get off his game. But this is weak technique by Tyreek. Broke on him right there. Now look at the second thing that's going on right here. The safeties. Why? This is on Jaquan Brisker's side of the field. So if there's got to be a safety that carries Jameson Williams over the top deep, it's got to be Jaquan Brisker. This has got to be Jaquan Brisker's assignment. Kevin Byard has no business being in this place. He's supposed to be a little more shallow down here trying to cover this. Now, if he is, I don't know that Jared Goff is throwing this ball over here, even though Tyreek Stevenson is clearly beat. If Kevin Byard is on assignment, this is communication lapses right here. If he's on assignment, this is an over and under coverage on Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is the very first play of the game. This play doesn't even happen. Jared Goff is looking somewhere else trying to find a receiver, and he's probably dirting the ball because there's nothing else there. You can see the linebacker covering the running back coming out of the backfield right here. Let me see. I think this is Jaylon on top of whoever that is right there. No, is that Jaylon right here? I don't know. I think, yeah, that's Jaylon carrying somebody. This might be Nick McLeod down here or somebody. Jaylon's right here trying to carry St. Brown, and this is supposed to be Jaquan over the top. But let's let it play out. Just piss poor. Just piss poor. Here's another angle. Let's see how this plays out. You'll see, you won't see the physicality at the line of scrimmage. This is, if you can see my cursor, this is St. Brown right next to TJ right here. And he's going to just do an over route right across. And you see how they have the field split right here, talking about Brisker and Byard right here. You got Byard way over here, split way over here. And you got Brisker way over here. They got good separation, solid depth. And he should have maintained his leverage just like it is, but he ends up kind of lingering over here to, I don't know, man, maybe he felt like he was trying to help Jaquan Brisker out or he's covering for Jaquan Brisker. I don't know. But either way, he is off leverage big time by being this far inside when you got guys doing over routes way over here. So just watch the safety. See, Jaylon is carrying this guy. Why are you supposed to be confident enough in Jaylon? You're supposed to be over here for anything breaking this direction. That was partly on Kevin Byard, man. It just makes me sick. This happened throughout the entire game, and they just took advantage of us. All right, let's get to something else, man. Let me see. Give me a second to pull it up. So we saw an offensive play. Let's see something defensively. This is at 14-15 in the first quarter, very first part of the game. Systemic problems, man. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to 4:15 on defense. Let me see. What happened, man? Okay, here we go. All right, let me open the screen up a little bit. I'll be in the chat right after this play. This is what I mean when I say TJ, you never see this kind of stuff with TJ Edwards. Focus on where my cursor is. This is TJ Edwards right here. Now, on this play, TJ is supposed to get anything leaking out in this direction. First assignment is making sure he's got run containment. That is this portion right over here, trying to make sure nothing leaks out outside of him. But if anything, any receiver leaks out to his side, he's got to carry that. So his eyes are going to have to be, stop and run first. But if anything is moving outside this area right here, he's supposed to be beelining it. Watch what TJ does. You see him beat. The jet sweep caught him off. Let me rewind that for you guys. You see it right at the very beginning. He just was beat from the very start. Not assignment sound. This is not like TJ. Right there, he missed it. Right there, he lost leverage right then and there. If he recognizes it in enough time, he gets out in front of this and gets onto that route where he wheels out this way. But he completely got sucked into the play action. The play action, in fact, the play was looking to be run to this side. You can't be so overly worried about where this run play is going if it's not coming to your side that you completely miss the tight end streaking right across your face. And this is just, and I hate to do this to TJ because he's such a good freaking football player. But it's consequential. It was a 1st and 10 and they get 10 yards but this kind of stuff happens throughout the game. Assignment, missed assignments, just drop assignments all throughout the game. And just endemic of it. Here we go. Look at that. Wide open. One more time. I'll let it play out and I won't interrupt it. One more time in fast speed. Just let it play out. Here we go. Lost leverage. Can't get sucked inside like that. Boom. Too late. So the misdirections were killing us, unaliving us. My fault. Let's look at another angle of it. Looks even worse on this angle. Dead in the water right there. DOA or DIW. That's just bad. This is the kind of stuff I've seen throughout the whole tape. And again, I hate singling out TJ. Let me get into the chat real quick before I get to the next play. Oh, you know what? I could have done something to help out here. How's that? I hope that's a little bit better. Let me see. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you in here. All right, let's get to one more play real quick. And again, I do apologize for not having more. YouTube just won't let you. If you want to monetize some content, they won't let you do it. And we need all that revenue that we can get, to be honest with you. All right, we're going to go to this last play. This is also in the first quarter, about 6:20. It's a 2nd and 9 offensively. And this is going to show you some of the systemic run blocking problems that I kept seeing throughout the entire game. All right, let me see. 6:20 in the first quarter. All right. Just systemic stuff. Here we go. And for all the people that are giving Jonah Jackson the business, this is part of the reason why. He's supposed to be better than this. All right, here you go. You have a shotgun offset running back. This is supposed to be kind of a counter to this side, to the wide left. It's supposed to be a counter to the wide left. And in this, I believe the guard, he's supposed to, it looks like they're trying to at least start a duo block over here. I'm talking about, I don't know whether it was, we'll have to see. Let me play this out. But watch, I just can't remember exactly what happened here, but watch this guy take it straight to Jonah Jackson and just completely move him back in the backfield. And even if Swift, this run is designed to go over here. Watch my cursor. The run is designed to kind of counter to this side. That's why the only reason they call it a counter is because Swift is offset to the right and the run is going to the left. And so even if he wanted to, he sees the traffic piling up over in this direction when he gets the ball, even if he wants it to come back. Watch 97, Aiden Hutchinson get right up in this hole and there's no cutback lane. There's none whatsoever. Watch. Okay. Look where Jonah Jackson is. This is a rookie, Tyleek Williams. And Jonah Jackson just gives him the inside leverage all the way. This run is designed to go over here. Over here. How well is that going to play out? Look at that. He's already trying to figure out how to get around this guy. Let me run it back one more time. Just whooped him from go. You see the cutback. If he sees his ball right away and decides to cut back, he's not going nowhere because Aiden Hutchinson's right there. But look at this whooping from the start by Jonah Jackson on a rookie. Just gave it to him. Completely clogged that up. And some people might say, okay, no, man, why don't he just bend this back this way? You see this guy approaching? He ain't going nowhere. Where's he supposed to run to here? He's trying to get out to the edge as fast as possible. Braxton Jones out here has lost the leverage battle. If his goal was to seal this edge rusher, he's on the wrong damn side of him. Only thing he can do now, Braxton Jones, is hold him. It's the only thing he can do. And DJ is out here trying to hold his block as long as he can. And where's Swift supposed to go? People, I'm one of the people that says none of this stuff works. None of this Ben Johnson stuff works at all without great offensive line performances and without good running backs to be able to capitalize on great offensive line performances. When the offensive line cannot consistently keep the trajectory moving forward and get pushed off the line of scrimmage, roll off the ball, and move people around, seal their blocks, what is the running back supposed to do? What's he supposed to do? Let me play it. We'll play it again from the end zone angle. All right. This is a much better way to look at a running play from this angle. We saw it looked good from there, what you can see, but this makes it even worse. Now, I'm not sure if I'm Caleb Williams. Now, this looks like a weak side run. It looks like the strong side is over here. It seems like more numbers are over to this side. And I don't know that maybe if I'm Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams on a play like this, I'm building this up to where maybe I'm having DJ kind of come and line up right over this guy. That way Braxton Jones doesn't have to go as far as he has to go to seal this guy so the running back can get around him. And so maybe that's a mistake. I don't know if that's some scheme and stuff going on or not, but it didn't seem like, I don't know if I would have ran this play. If I'd have seen this lineup, I don't know that I would have ran this play. Maybe I'm calling a timeout or something, having something built in to help this out, but I don't know if I'm running this play in real time. Look at, he's right on top of DeAndre as soon as he gets the ball. He's got to hurry up and avoid this and then try to get outside and avoid this guy Braxton is on. It's already lost. Where's he going here? This is why we can't get a consistent run game. If anybody ever wants to know why the Bears aren't running the ball well, and I'm not totally wiping DeAndre Swift off the map and saying that he's perfect. No, at times I can tell you for sure I've seen some stuff where you wish he hits a hole a little bit harder, presses a hole a little bit harder. It's definitely some stuff to be said there. But overall, if this is what it looks like consistently for DeAndre Swift, or any running back for that matter, coming out of there, I don't care who you are. Ain't nobody going nowhere when it's consistently looking like this. I saw way too many breakdowns just the way this looks on the all 22. I mean, way more than this. There's no way DeAndre Swift is really comfortable, really pressing holes like I know he's capable of doing. Not when it's like this. Not when it's like this. There's no way. So it's just bad. Good offensive line performed better than this, but that's, man, I don't even want to get upset again. That was terrible. That was terrible. Yeah, he knows the Lions defenders moving towards the ball. Our defenders don't do that. You're talking about pursuit. You're talking about flow is what I think you're trying to say to me. And yeah, that's you know how we always talk, Crimson, about how it takes time for units to gel. You can tell this is a more and better gelled unit than ours on defense, how they flow to the ball. That's usually an indicator to me. How good a defense is going to be overall is how the pursuit of the ball and how they flow. And you definitely notice that on tape, Crimson. To that point, you see that flow going to the ball, and it happens rapidly too. Against us, we pursue the ball, it just looks a step or two slower. And so to me, that comes down to gelling, really, to me, and really knowing your assignments and not having communication lapses. That's going to make you be a step or two a little bit slower. And so all of that stuff plays into that. Yeah, I heard about Joe Burrow. That's messed up. I call him Joe Glass, man. He's brittle. Yeah, it's a terrible. I should have probably took a screenshot of that, Crimson. You're right, man. That's awful, man. Look at the pursuit to the ball. How many guys you see there? You said 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Absolutely 9 of them. That's crazy. Overflow. But yeah, man, let me get to a couple more bullet points that I wanted to point out to speak to before I get out of here, man. Let me take this off the screen. Let me see here. All right, a couple things I wanted to point out that I watched on film that I wish I can show you all. We already talked about the missed assignments, cornerbacks not being physical enough at the line of scrimmage and disrupting timing. We lost in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Lions' physicality stood out a lot more than ours. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest differences in the game. I told you that it was a physicality. It's a physicality. And also, too, and I know a lot of people are piling on Tyreek, too. Like, there's a couple times where, at least one time, where I know for a fact there was a bucket shot to, I think it was Tesla. Tesla reached out and grabbed this ball one-handed, and it was a big play. Perfect coverage. Tyreek had perfect coverage. A couple, 2 or 3 times I saw on film. But Jared Goff just put the ball in the perfect place. Perfect throw. And there's sometimes a perfect throw and a good catch will beat good coverage. And I'm not mad at him for that. And so Jared Goff was above average in his throwing yesterday because he had pretty clean pockets to throw from. And when you got pretty clean pockets to throw from, you can stay on rhythm, stay on time, and get your feet set and kind of deliver good throws. And so I blame not getting enough pressure. I think something happened, in Dennis Allen's mind yesterday when Jaylon Johnson went down. He just decided to play it a little more safe. I've seen more zone coverages coming from Dennis Allen that I'm normally used to seeing on gotta have it downs. You know what I'm saying? The gotta have it downs when you'll see Dennis Allen defenses come like a mob on the court. I mean, there's too many people to block. Usually you'll see that when he's confident in the corners behind him. I think when Jaylon went down, and I think based on how well Jared Goff was throwing the ball and he was diamond balls in, I think he backed off of some of that pressure. I don't know that if he had to do that over, he'd still do that. So there's something I noticed on film. Also, I wish I had. This is why I really, really wish. Let me read what Crimson's saying. Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Give me a little time, Crimson. Let me see. Shout out to Catfish Polly Tricks. He says, I said it looked like Ben Johnson lured the Bears to Detroit and switched sidelines when they got there. You wild for that one, man. Man, people are cutting him up right now. But what was I about to say? All right. Another thing that I noticed during the game, this is very, very, it sticked out huge. It was St. Brown blocking and chipping on the edges. Number one, I could say from the tackle standpoint, when those runs had to come to each one of their sides, they did a really good job of winning their reps and sealing those blocks and got that run loose to the outside. Really good job, both of the tackles, whether it was Decker or Penei Sewell. One other thing that kind of helped was some of the blocking set up and schemed in by their coordinator. Amon-Ra St. Brown tore off on a couple of on our edge rushers a couple of times this spring. Well, mostly it was Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs had a nice little trek down the right sidelines. If I could show you that on film, you can see. I think it was Dial on that side. It was Dial on that side that time. Him and Montez had switched sides. It was Dial there. Dial would have had this run dead to rights, but here came St. Brown with a damn near. You know, some refs could call that clipping. Blindside hit him, chipped him, sprung that whole play loose. Because Dial would have had that containment on that run. That he'd either forced him to go back inside or strung him out wide, and the pursuit and the cavalry would have got there. But man, it was ugly, man. That dude, Amon-Ra St. Brown, is a hell of a blocker. I'm just gonna tell you straight up, he's a hell of a blocker, and he's responsible for a lot of those big plays springing loose for those running backs. And it showed up on tape. I wish like hell I could show you that. Let me see here. Some other stuff that stuck out. Penalties, man. Come on, man. Holding, the false starts and all that kind of stuff, man. Just lazy defense, not fighting to the whistle. Let me see. Another thing that stood out is in every game, like when the team is clear and your opponent is clearly getting momentum, and you need to make a play. You know, let's just say you just need to move the chains just to keep the defense off the field, do it just to extend their drive. What you didn't see, and you should have seen, you all, our best player on offense is number 2. Ben Johnson is not doing a good enough job, even though Rome Odunze was having the day. DJ Moore is still your best player on the offense. And those gotta have it plays, you got to scheme up some stuff to isolate DJ Moore. And you did not see near enough of that. When they had to have it, there should have been stuff drawn up to get your best player to football. Not enough stuff for DJ Moore, not near enough stuff. I hear you, James Hunter. He says we have no running backs. You just got in here. I was just showing, some of the run blocking scheme and how terrible some individual play was. It didn't really matter who the running back was. They just sucked at run blocking. period. And this is I wish I could show you that again, but you just missed it. So make sure you watch that on replay. Let me see. Definitely the chemistry with Rome shine through. All right, to summarize everything I saw, what stood out most, Nomad, on this film? It was several things. I'll say one, two, three, four things that you can probably circle. Preparedness. I don't think when you see the amount of miscommunication, the amount of missed assignments, the amount of adjustments to whatever the Lions were doing, whether it was on offense or whether it was on defense, to me, that's an indicator of lack of preparedness. I think that stood out on film 110%. The lack of preparedness showed. It seemed like a team that had a way better game plan, way better execution, and didn't really drop assignments. There was one team that did, one team that didn't. You know who that was. So it was preparedness. I don't think the coaches did a good enough job. I know if they're talking to themselves alone in a meeting room, they're going to say the same exact thing. Get this team better prepared. And that goes across the board. Like, there's a lot of people complain about them not having these highly drafted rookies out there. That goes to preparedness. That goes to coaching. You got a lot of teams out there that's playing rookies. You just saw one. Tyreek Williams is a rookie D tackle. Started both games for the Lions. Why is he better prepared to play? And why aren't our rookies better prepared to play? That's coaching, Jack. You get them dudes better prepared. Is a multitude of teams out there that are playing rookies early, starting them, from team to team. Who knows why? It might be we drafted this guy because we need him. We got to start him. Or there's other teams that get their guys better prepared, and they can use them and get usage out of them early, week 1, week 2, and early. They've got to do a better job getting these guys prepared. Shout out to Slick Sophistication, James Hunter. Yes, the line is not gelling at all so far. It takes time, man. It does. Slick Sophistication, shout out. All right. So preparedness, communication, we were just going over that with the safeties and how they miss. I think Byard that's probably his worst assignment lapse game that I've seen too, man. That's that kind of stuff. I've seen it a few times on tape. He got beat right underneath him with the tight end cross a touchdown in the red zone. I was talking about that. I should have showed that play, but couldn't. Communication errors, missed assignments, and overall physical toughness. When you can't win the trench battle, when you can't win at the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball, I don't know how in anybody's logical mind you can expect to win a football game. Football games are won and they are lost in the trenches. That hasn't changed since I was a peewee little boy to now as an adult. I've seen that be a through line through every NFL season. You ain't winning SHIT if you can't control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Period. You can't. And they fundamentally, physically, spiritually, and morally whooped our ass at the line of scrimmage all day, all night. And that was embarrassing. I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing certain things, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I definitely felt every fan in the world that loves the Chicago Bears. I felt them in a deep way, every last one of y'all, watching that game in pure disgust. It was disgusting at times. And I don't want to minimize that. They deserve to hear that. They were disgusting. Getting your shit they got it taken to them. From beginning to the end. They moved us around. They out-physicaled us. They beat us up. And there was no retaliation for it. That physical toughness, that dog, that I ain't gonna take that attitude was missing all day. And I'm ashamed as a Bears fan right now. Totally ashamed. I can take an L. just like any good human being should be able to do. You should be able to take an L. But I can't take getting my ass kicked now. We got our ass kicked. They literally took us to the side of the barn and put it on us. That I can't accept, man. So in all, like I said, there's some stuff to like on film. But I don't know where you're going to get that dog mentality from. That they don't sell that at Walmart. Not in bulk. And we need a bulk of it. I don't know where you get the dog from. I don't know where you get that fight from. But they got to find it real fast. So this season going to get away from us in a bad way. Now, I do believe that, like I said earlier, there's some gelling that still needs to happen on both sides of the ball, especially in the trenches. And, on both units, complete units. I'm talking about completely on the offense and completely on the defense. It's a lot of gelling that's going to happen. And I do expect them to come out and be better than they look this week. I do think it's a good chance that we can beat the Cowboys. I really do. And that might sound crazy after what I just saw. What we just got beat by is one of the most dynamic and one of the elite teams in football who emphasizes in beating you in the trenches. What we found out yesterday is we ain't nowhere even close to where we need to be in the trenches. Because one of the elite teams you just went into their building and they just showed you. You just found out exactly where you are. They just showed you. So let me get to a couple of comments before we get out of here. James Hunter says, lack of personal character on the defense, in my opinion, has no heart. Man, I hate to even have to repeat that, James, to be honest with you. Because I just don't know what it's like to be around a unit that didn't have heart. I've never experienced a unit that didn't have heart. I just don't know what that feels like, but I saw a lot of lackluster that last night. Mike, my guy Mike says, I've got 50 years of bleeding these colors, and I'm effing tired of these types of games, man. That's what I'm talking about. It made me, last night, Mike, it made me, for the first time since doing as a content creator, outside of when my guy Chris Washington passed away, made me question, what am I doing this for? I literally questioned. I was just like, man, why am I giving all this time and this energy and kind of my life to this, man? Part of my life I'm giving to doing Bears content and creating content, and always, why am I doing this if they constantly keep disappointing me like this? I thought about that last night. And I don't know how I keep coming up with it, but I keep coming up with it. I keep coming up with, let's keep fighting for everybody that's going through the same thing you're going through. That's your reason. Just stay in the game. Just keep fighting. And that's just kind of where I landed at, man. That's just where I'm at to right now as we speak. I don't think it's crazy. King Booker says he called me crazy, but I think the Bears are going to beat the SHIT out the Cowboys. I do think we're going to win that game. Cowboys ain't that good, man. Let me see. James Hunter says, we do not get people with dog mentality. We get pedigree and that like props, but does not know how to work. I get what you're saying here, James Hunter. Poles seems to have put an emphasis on that, what you're talking about, pedigree, traits, and all that kind of stuff, and not emphasizing more of the stuff that you can't measure. And that's dog, that's fight, that's struggle, strife, strain, no quit mentality. When I look at players, when I'm evaluating these guys, which I'm gonna probably do some early college evaluations for you guys, but that's kind of the stuff that I'm always looking for. And for whatever reason, most of the time, Poles has avoided those players for whatever reason. Some of these dudes are show-outs right now in the league on different teams. Some of these guys I've been looking at for the past couple of years. But for whatever reason, it's a turnoff to Poles. Some of those guys, those really mean, you need some mean MFers up in here. Like some damn near criminal dudes. And Poles is like scared to, now I get why they didn't get Jaylon Carter. He's got a little too much going on. And I understood during that time, when you're in a complete rebuild and you're about to tear it down to the studs, you didn't have you didn't have the structure inside that building at that point to grab a Jaylon Carter. I do think timing is important, but you've had time since then to make sure you got the structure set up and you got the veteran laden, locker room that whoever you put in there is going to immediately be put in his place, and they're going to learn how to channel all that dog, and they're going to know what to do with it. That's where he's fundamentally failed this organization, not setting these guys up in the right way, so that when you can get one of those chippy guys with that dog mentality, and he's mean and he's got an attitude problem, and he might trigger on the field at a time or two, and get in trouble. But at least you have the infrastructure like the Philadelphia Eagles. So where if you got a character guy come in there, you got somewhere for him to be, they'll rein him in right away. That's just how locker rooms work. There was nobody to deal with no Jaylon Carter when he came in. Nobody. He would have run amok. But he's had more than enough time to get that locker room together and set up to get some of those meaner guys, those chippier guys, the guys who have attitude problems and possibly some character issues that you got to work through and sort out and smooth out with a guy. So you've had time to get those guys in there. You scared of him. He's scared of him. He's worrying about his image. I'm worried about winning the effing football game. And so, like rightfully so, he's catching heat that he deserves right now. I used to be big time trying to stem some of that and trying to defend Ryan Poles, give him time. But the more and more I keep seeing this football team on the field, I can't do that no more. I can't. Shout out to Eric King. Well, I don't know what that's all about, dude. Shout out to Daryl. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, man, because I already stayed longer than I expected with only 3 plays. But we had a little bit of breaking news with the Jaylon Johnson story, and not knowing what's going to happen with that. And the TJ, we haven't heard updates on. It could be some stuff that's already out there, and I just don't know about it because I'm live. But yeah, man, I would just say this to you all. Don't forget on Wednesday, man, I think Wednesday show, I just want to bill it to you all like this. I do believe that some extra sauce, that show is a good place for every Bears fan to come. When you want to talk about football, of course, you want to talk about the Bears, of course. But if you just want to have a good time and just for a little while, just unplug from this whole reality that we're dealing with. I'm telling you right now, Wednesday, you will come there, you bring your drinks and whatever you do, and come to have a good time Wednesday night, because we specially prepare those shows to do just that. And I'm telling you, if you haven't been to some extra sauce, you don't know what you're missing. You're going to laugh. You're going to get serious at time, but you're going to have a great time. And I'm just telling you guys, let somebody know. Let some people know what we do on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central, because I'm telling you, it's going to be a good show. And I think we all need it at this point. That's why I'm emphasizing it right now. I think we all need it after that performance on Sunday. We need something else to do and something else to think about. But that's all I got for you all. I'd love to see you all there. Hope to see everybody in that show Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. But I got to go, and thank you guys for being here. Every last one of you guys. Love you all. But I got to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, I am